What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video here on B-Mills Wrestling. In today's video, I'm going to be fantasy booking each of the 4 world titles in the WWE from now until WrestleMania 42. Before we get into the video, if you guys are not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss any new videos. And don't forget to leave a like down below. Alright guys, let's get into this video. The first World Championship that we are going to be fantasy booking is the World Heavyweight Championship, which is currently being held by Gunther. Gunther obviously just won the world title a few weeks ago from Jey Uso on an episode of Raw, and he obviously is scheduled to go against CM Punk at SummerSlam. That will main event night 1, and I'm very torn on this match because I could see WWE trying to rewrite the wrongs of Gunther's first title reign and make him have a much better one because there is some good opponents lined up like Penta, LA Knight, Punk, who he's getting at SummerSlam, and maybe an AJ Styles, plenty more guys I'm not naming. I could see where that happens. But I could also see WWE just wanting to give the world title to CM Punk. Obviously, he returned in 2023. We're almost coming up on, I believe, 2 years since his return. I think, he's going to win a world title. I think, obviously, him coming back, the main goal was for him to main event WrestleMania. He did say that it's not a goal for him to win a world title. But, I think that he should, right? I think that we need to see at least one more world title reign from CM Punk before he retires and leaves WWE for good. I think it has to happen. So I do think that CM Punk will beat Gunther in the main event of SummerSlam. Like I said, I'm very torn on this match. I could see them going either way. But if I'm Triple H, I think you give the title to CM Punk. I think that's what's going to get you the ratings. That's going to bring the fans in. If you put the world title on CM Punk and let him have another classic title reign. Think about his last world title reign in WWE. That was one of the most memorable title reigns of all time. 434 days as WWE Champion. The feuds he had. I think they have to do it again. I think they need to at least see what he can do as champion. So, like I said, I think CM Punk defeats Gunther at SummerSlam. And then he goes on to defend his championship at Clash in Paris, which is the first PLE after SummerSlam, against Braun Breaker. Obviously, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and this faction have been, subtly feuding for a while now. So I think it makes sense that Braun Breaker gets that world title shot. He obviously almost outlasted everybody in that gauntlet match that they just had to determine the number 1 contender for Gunther's world championship. Obviously, he came up short, got second place in that match. I think he's due to get world title matches, I should say. Obviously, at SummerSlam, he's going to be in a tag match, it looks like, with Bronson Reed taking on Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, which I like that, don't get me wrong. But I think after that, especially with Seth still out, I feel like Braun should be getting world title shots. He should be in the world title picture. So that's why I do have that match at Clash in Paris. And I do expect CM Punk to retain in that match because I don't expect this to be a really short reign. I wouldn't want that at all. I also don't think it's going to be a really long reign, as you're going to see as I keep going. But I do think CM Punk would retain against Braun Breaker at Clash in Paris. Then I think he would go on to Crown Jewel. And if they are still doing the Crown Jewel Championship thing, which I don't know if that's been confirmed. I don't know if that was a one and done because Crown Jewel is in Perth this year. I think that we will see Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk in that Crown Jewel match. Obviously, it's, if we're doing what it was last year, it was champion versus champion, world heavyweight champion versus WWE champion. Last year, it was Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. I think this year, it's going to be Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk. That's obviously been a feud they've teased a bunch. It's something everyone wants to see. I'm not sure how good the feud would be if obviously it's not for either of the titles. So either way, though, I feel like that's still just a match everyone wants to see. We haven't seen them in the ring together going at it one-on-one. And I feel like, when I get into Cody's WWE Championship reign, I do think Cody will win back the title. I'll get into that. I think we're going to see a heel Cody Rhodes. So I feel like this match would be a heel Cody versus a babyface CM Punk. And I just think that would be awesome. As for who would win in that match, I honestly don't know. I feel like maybe Cody Rhodes would win in that match. As for booking the World Heavyweight Championship, it doesn't matter because, like I said, the title is not on the line. So I'm not really going to predict that match. But as we go on, I think that we will see CM Punk go against Sami Zayn at Survivor Series for that World Heavyweight Championship. I think, obviously, Sami Zayn is still chasing that World Heavyweight Championship. I think that's pretty obvious. He's been taken out by Seth and Seth's group. He's been taken out by Karrion Kross. Just everyone, keeping him out of the way for the world title picture. I think he's eventually going to get into that picture. I think he's going to help CM Punk, in a way, against maybe Braun and Bronson at where I said Clash in Paris when Punk goes against Braun. If that happens, I think maybe Sammy helps him, and then I think Punk and Sammy are both baby faces, and I think Punk gives him a match, kind of how Cody Rhodes gave Kevin Owens a match at Bash in Berlin for being a good friend. I feel like we're gonna see that because Punk and Sammy have obviously been teaming up a lot, so I think that will happen. And then I think we'll get Punk versus Sammy at Survivor Series. The whole story will be Sammy winning that first world title, but that won't happen. I think this is where Seth Rollins returns and Rollins cashes in on CM Punk and Sami Zayn. I'm not sure who would pin in the match. I think he'll turn it into a triple threat. It also could be a thing where Sami Zayn wins the world title from Punk and then Seth cashes in after, kind of giving you those flashbacks of when Randy Orton cashed in on Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam and it went all the way to WrestleMania. I think that's what's going to happen, actually. I think Sammy might actually beat Punk in this match, and then Seth cashes in, or Seth cashes in on Punk. I don't know. Either way, I think this is where Seth will cash in because this is around 4 to 5 months from when he got hurt. So that's obviously, as of right now, that's the timeline for the injury that I've seen on the internet. Obviously, that could be wrong, but it would be cool to see him return at Survivor Series and cash in on this match. Then I think we're going to get a rematch maybe between Seth Rollins and CM Punk at Saturday night's main event because Punk, being the former champion, would probably get that rematch clause, and then we would see Seth Rollins retain in that match at Saturday night's main event. And then I don't think we would see Seth defend the title again until WrestleMania. We have Elimination Chamber and Royal Rumble in between there. I don't think he would defend it there. Maybe he would, but I think the whole plan is for Sami Zayn to win the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. I think Sami will outlast the 29 other superstars. He will win in Saudi. He'll get that huge pop and reaction. And then you'll go on to get Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 42 for the World Heavyweight Championship. And that is where Sami Zayn completes his story by finally winning a World Championship in WWE. I feel like the writing's on the wall. I'm not saying I would necessarily want this to be the case. I'd rather actually get Seth versus Roman at WrestleMania 42. I know that's probably talked about, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is more likely because I don't really see anybody else winning the Royal Rumble, maybe an LA Knight, but I think it's going to be Sami Zayn. I think Sami is going to finally accomplish that goal of winning a world championship at WrestleMania, and he will do it by defeating Seth Rollins, the man who took him out when he started his faction with Braun Breaker and Braun Strowman. That was the first guy they targeted and took out. I think it's a full circle moment, and I think with Sami, maybe winning the title at Survivor Series, like I said, and then getting cashed in on, it would be that Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton thing, and you would finally have Sami Zayn win at WrestleMania 42. So I think that's how it ends. I think it starts with Gunther and it ends with Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 42. All right, now it's time to move over to the WWE Championship, which is currently being held by John Cena. John obviously won that title at WrestleMania 41, accomplishing his goal of becoming a 17-time world champion. We know he will defend that title against Cody Rhodes in the main event of Night 2 at SummerSlam, and I do think Cody Rhodes will win back the title. And I obviously, I'm not really looking forward to this match because the first one wasn't good. I think they obviously have to do something in this match that makes, some crazy noise, right? Like, not just a generic, oh, Cody wins back the title versus Cena and that's it. No, I think something much crazier is going to happen, and that's a Cody Rhodes heel turn. I think we're going to get a double turn at SummerSlam. I think Cena's going to go back to being a babyface, and I think we're going to see the heel turn of Cody Rhodes finally happen. Maybe he sells out to The Rock. I don't know what exactly happens. This is a street fight, so anything goes. I think that's how you make this match memorable. I think, if you just have a regular match with Cody and Cena, like I said, with a few table spots and chair spots, I don't think that really does it for me. I think if you do the Cody heel turn and, the double turn, like I said, that's what's going to make everybody remember this match and talk about this match forever. That's what they need to do. If Cody's going to win back the title, in my eyes, I want to see him as a heel. Because don't get me wrong, I like him as a babyface. I enjoyed a lot of his title reign, most of it at least. But I think it's it just ended at WrestleMania. He held it for over a year, and he's already going to win it back. I feel like I don't want to really see that. And the same, babyface title reign as we just did. I think a heel turn would be huge because then you get a fresh Cody Rhodes as champion. I think that's what they should do. And I think the amount of storylines they can do with Cody as the heel in the situation would just be awesome, and I'm going to get into all of them. I think Cody beats Cena at SummerSlam. I don't think John Cena goes for a rematch, though. I know that might be a hot take. Obviously, he's going to have that rematch clause, and, when people lose the title, they go right back for it. I think John Cena's goal was to win 17. Obviously, his goal is right now to take the title home and retire with it. But I think with the double turn, him becoming a babyface at SummerSlam, he's not going to want to obviously win back the title and take it home. I think he's going to be focusing on, apologizing to the fans and coming back to his ways as a babyface. I feel like that's the next step for John Cena. I don't think it's going back for number 18, right? I think that makes zero sense. Maybe he does get a rematch. I don't think it happens, though. I think we're going to throw Cody Rhodes into fresh new feuds right away, and that starts with LA Knight. I think we will see Cody Rhodes versus LA Knight at Clash in Paris. I think LA Knight, he's been jumping from Raw to SmackDown, so I'm not really sure what brand he's on right now. The brand splits like non-existent, if we're being honest. Like, we're seeing guys hop from brand to brand. It doesn't even matter. John Cena's on Raw and SmackDown feuding with guys. It just doesn't matter at this point. But I feel like this is what LA Knight would need. I don't know what he's going to do at SummerSlam, if he's going to do anything, because that hasn't been announced. We have like 11 matches confirmed. He's not one of them, so he might miss SummerSlam. But obviously, if they're telling us anything, they're telling us that they want him in the main event scene. Having him feud with Seth Rollins and his faction and then winning against Seth Rollins, I don't think that was the plan. Obviously, the injury hurt that. But, obviously putting him in that gauntlet match, saying, hey, he could be the main event of SummerSlam going against Gunther, didn't happen. I think that we will see him, though, go against Cody Rhodes. I feel like that's a good-ass feud that we could get, right? A babyface LA Knight versus a heel Cody Rhodes. I feel like the promos would be excellent. Like, we still haven't gotten this feud, I don't believe, in WWE. They've been babyfaces together ever since Cody came back. So, to see a heel Cody Rhodes against a babyface LA Knight, this would be a really fun match to do at Clash of Paris. But I would expect Cody Rhodes to retain in this match. If you're having a double turn happen at SummerSlam, Cody goes heel. He's not going to lose the title just a month after. I think he's going to hold this title for a while. I'm going to get into that. Then we move on to Crown Jewel. Obviously, Crown Jewel, like I said, I think they're going to do the title versus title thing. If that hasn't changed, I'm not sure. So, like I said with CM Punk, I think it's going to be CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes because Punk will be the current World Heavyweight Champion and Cody will be the current WWE Champion. This would, like I said, absolutely cook because it's a babyface Punk versus a heel Rhodes. Like, the promos they could give you would be so damn fun. I wouldn't care who won this match. None of the title, neither of the titles are on the line. So this would just be a fun storyline that we've been waiting for. Like, we've been getting teased of this Punk and Cody storyline forever. And maybe that doesn't happen here. Like, obviously, this is all just fantasy booking. But this would be so damn awesome. Then we would move on to where I think we would see a Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton storyline. I think they could do this maybe once or twice. Like Survivor Series and Royal Rumble, they could do it 2 times, or they could just do it once. Maybe at Survivor Series, maybe at the Royal Rumble. I don't care where. We obviously need this. Like, they've been, like I said with CM Punk and LA Knight, they've both been baby faces ever since they've been in WWE. Cody came back to WWE. Punk came back to WWE. We finally, if we get a heel Cody, we can finally, like, go into these storylines with these big top stars, but it won't be like a face versus face. It would be a heel versus a face situation. And getting that heel Rhodes versus babyface Orton would be freaking crazy. Honestly, though, I also would have liked heel Randy versus a babyface Cody, and maybe that still can happen if they don't turn Cody heel at SummerSlam. But either way, this would be such a fun storyline. This would probably be Cody's best rivalry in WWE. I know they had the match at for the King of the Ring that they did at Night of Champions. They teased a heel Cody. They also teased heel Orton in that match, with Randy exposing the turnbuckle, but Cody targeting Randy's back and then using the exposed turnbuckle. I feel like they were planting seeds. One of them's going to turn heel. That's all I can tell you. And I think they're going to have maybe 1, maybe 2 matches, like I said, at Royal Rumble and Survivor Series. And like I said, I think it's going to be Cody's best rivalry since returning to WWE. But I would expect Cody to keep the title on him and defeat Randy Orton in those matches. That brings us into WrestleMania 42, where I think we will get the trilogy conclusion of Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. I've seen this on Twitter, Instagram. I feel like it's been teased a little bit. It's in the talks, I think, within WWE. I would like this. I actually would. Now, I wouldn't like this if it was a babyface Cody versus a heel Roman, because we've already seen it 2 times. If this is a heel Cody versus a babyface Roman Reigns, that is like a new dynamic that we can get into, and I would absolutely love it. Like, this would be awesome. Like, basically Roman being in Cody's shoes, and then Cody being in Roman's shoes, like the whole reverse. Like, it would be awesome to see. I would absolutely love that between these two. Obviously, like Cody and Randy, that's a WrestleMania match you can do. Cody versus Punk, that's another WrestleMania match you can do. And then completing the trilogy with Cody and Roman. Like, I feel like he has 3 WrestleMania matches. But you're going to have to pick one of them. I think it could be Cody and Roman, just because their initial 2 matches were both at WrestleMania. So I feel like if you're going to do a trilogy, it has to be at WrestleMania. I wouldn't expect Roman Reigns to win back that title. I think Roman's done with winning titles in WWE. I don't know how many years he has left, maybe 2-3 years. I don't think he's going to win another championship. I think that long 1,300-day title reign, that was it for him. That was the stamp on his, career as champion. I think Cody Rhodes beats Roman Reigns in this trilogy, solidifies himself as QB1. I saw a lot of people saying that the reason Roman's called OTC1 is because they're going to do QB1 versus OTC1 at WrestleMania. I actually could literally see that happening, but I think Cody Rhodes will beat Roman Reigns in this match and retain the title at WrestleMania 42. So I think John Cena obviously starts with the title right where we're at, and I think it ends with Cody Rhodes winning and retaining all the way until WrestleMania 42, where he will also retain the title. Okay, now it's time to move over to the women's division, where we have the WWE Women's Championship currently being held by Tiffany Stratton, who has held the title for, I believe, over 215 days at this point. She will go one-on-one at SummerSlam with Jade Cargill, who is the queen of the ring, obviously earning that chance for the world title at SummerSlam. I don't think Tiffany Stratton's title reign has been living up to the hype. It's been very underwhelming, if I must say. A lot of her feuds have been underwhelming, especially the feud with Charlotte Flair. That was supposed to be her feud, her big feud, and it didn't live up to the hype. I'm not saying this is a problem with Tiffany Stratton, but her feuds just haven't been good. I think it is time for her to cough up the title. She's had a very long title reign, like I said, over 215 days. That's a lot longer than most people hold the titles in WWE. So props to her. But I think it's time that she loses that title. I think Jade Cargill, with this mega push that she has been getting, getting that singles match at WrestleMania, which was huge for her and Naomi, and then winning that match, and then going on to, get more singles matches, right? And then, become queen of the ring by beating out some of the best, like Asuka, who's a 4-time women's champion, right? Beating Naomi again at Evolution. Like, she's just been nonstop winning. WWE, obviously, they see a lot in her. They want her to be maybe the next girl, right? Like, they want her to be next in line to win that championship. I just don't see a world where Tiffany Stratton retains that title at SummerSlam. I think they want to move on to new and fresh things like Jade Cargill. I think there's a lot to do there, and I think Jade Cargill will win at SummerSlam. I think WWE, Triple H, with these King and Queen of the Ring tournaments, as we saw last year with Nia and Gunther, they went on to win at SummerSlam. I think Cody and Jade will both walk out of SummerSlam as winners. I think that's what he's been using King and Queen of the Ring for. If you win that, you're basically guaranteed to win at SummerSlam. And I could be wrong on this, but I think it is time for Tiffany to lose the title. I think Jade will win at SummerSlam, and then she will go on to Clash in Paris to defend that title against Nia Jax. This is not a feud that I'm hyped for, if I'm being honest with you. We've already kind of seen it. We've had, plenty of matches between them. But when I look down the SmackDown women's roster, I just don't really see that many options for Jade Cargill that are heels, because Jade Cargill is a babyface. I think Nia is the best option. She can give you that big and bad heel if you're a babyface champion, like we saw with Tiffany Stratton, or Bayley, right? That's who Nia Jax is. So I do think Nia will be the first in line for that championship against Jade Cargill. But obviously I do expect Jade Cargill to retain her title in that match and keep moving as champion. Crown Jewel, back to Crown Jewel. If they do the champion versus champion stuff, it's obviously going to be, in my opinion, Jade versus Naomi. I think Jade will be the WWE Women's Champion, and then I think Naomi will still be the Women's World Championship. We obviously have to get into her last, but I think that'll conclude their trilogy. Obviously, Jade is 2-0 in these matches, and like I said, this doesn't affect either title, so it doesn't really matter who I have winning this, but I would say Naomi should win this, because I don't want her to go 0-3 against Jade if this happens. I wouldn't even really be too hyped for this, though, because I feel like the feud's over. It should be done. But I feel like if they do the champion versus champion stuff, this is the match they're going to do. And then, this is where I think the reign gets interesting. This is where the WWE Women's Championship becomes interesting again. Because if I'm being honest, with Jade winning and, going against Nia and then Naomi, I don't think that's really that interesting, if I'm being honest. Not trying to be a hater. I think this is where her title reign will pick up. I think that she will feud with Charlotte Flair. Now, I think, obviously this has been teased a bunch by WWE already. They've had multiple stare downs, but we still actually haven't gotten that match between them, right? It's coming. It's coming. It could be potentially a WrestleMania match, maybe, but I don't think so. I think they're going to go a different direction. I think we see Charlotte versus Jade Cargill at Survivor Series. And then I think we have Charlotte win her 15th world title in WWE. I think Jade's title reign comes to an end at Survivor Series. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be mad about that because, and I too don't want Charlotte to be a world champion again in WWE, but just for the sake of the story, I think Charlotte has to win the title. Obviously, we know Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, they're a tag team right now. They have a tag title match at SummerSlam. I think they're going to win that match. I think they're going to win the titles. They're going to help elevate the titles, but they're not going to be a tag team forever. Obviously, at some point, one of them is going to turn on the other. And I think it's going to lead to a WrestleMania match. So I think that we will see them maybe still be tag champions as this match is going on. And we have Charlotte win the women's championship. And then kind of get out of, seeing Alexa Bliss as a friend, seeing her as an equal. And she goes back to being the old Charlotte Flair, where she's at the championship, she's the queen, everyone has to bow down to her. And I feel like that's where we see Charlotte and Alexa break up, and we have like maybe Charlotte turn on Alexa, maybe it's vice versa, maybe Alexa turns on Charlotte because she's jealous that she has the world championship, and then they lose the tag titles at some point, and that also leads to this feud happening. And then we obviously go into WrestleMania and we get Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss for the WWE Women's Championship. I think that's the money match. I really do want to see that. I know we've had the feud before, but at WrestleMania, we have not. I want to see that at WrestleMania. And, obviously, in this case scenario, we would have to have Alexa Bliss win the Elimination Chamber. She could also win the Royal Rumble, but I feel like she's more likely to win the Elimination Chamber, in my opinion. And like I said, we get Charlotte versus Alexa at WrestleMania. Would be an awesome feud. Like, they've had awesome feuds before. And then, add all the tag team stuff and, like, breaking up. I feel like it would be just awesome. And then from an in-ring standpoint, this is, like, one of the best matches you can have for WrestleMania for the women's world title. No offense to Jade Cargill, but I'd rather see this than like a Jade versus Charlotte. And then I would expect Alexa Bliss to finally win another world championship in WWE, because I don't want to see Charlotte Flair go on another long title reign. I want to see Alexa Bliss win that title at WrestleMania 42. So as it stands, Tiffany Stratton, she's the current world champion right now. I think that it'll go all the way to WrestleMania 42, and we will see Alexa Bliss be the new champion. And finally, that brings us to our last world champion on this list, and that is none other than the newest women's world champion, Naomi, who obviously just cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase on both Rhea Ripley and Io Sky in that match at Evolution, which was awesome. Maybe match of the year, if I'm being honest with you, and the cash-in was just the cherry on top. I'm looking forward to this Naomi title run. I've really loved what I've seen from her from a character standpoint. I feel like she's been doing her best work in WWE. That heel promo she just cut after winning the championship, in my opinion, was awesome. Like, I'm just ready to see her have a long title reign. And you're going to see that. I have her holding this thing for quite some time. Obviously, we know that we're going to see Naomi versus Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky at SummerSlam for that Women's World Championship. And it makes sense. Like, obviously, she cashed in. She disrupted that, 5 out of 5 star match, right? Like, obviously, they were bound to be mad and, want to get their titles back, right? Rhea obviously technically wasn't pinned in the match. And then Io Sky, she has that right to, get a rematch because of the rematch clause thing. It makes sense. I think this is the best thing you can do at SummerSlam. So I wouldn't want Naomi to lose 3 weeks after winning the title. That would be terrible, especially if they just handed it back to Rhea Ripley, because they don't know how to book Rhea Ripley out of the world title picture. But I don't think they would do that. I think that they would have Naomi retain the title in this match, and then go on to actually fight Stephanie Vaquer at Clash in Paris, because Stephanie Vaquer won the Battle Royal at Evolution. If you remember, just a week ago, you probably do. Stephanie Vaquer gets that world title shot against a champion of her choosing. Now, when they interviewed her before she won the Battle Royal, or the Monday Night Raw before, 2 Raws before, whatever, she said she was going to pick either Io or Rhea. They're obviously not the current champions, and if they don't win at SummerSlam, they're still not going to be the current champions. So I think that we will see Stephanie choose who's on Raw just because she is on Monday Night Raw. I think we're going to get Stephanie versus Naomi. From an in-ring standpoint, I feel like it could be a solid match. Obviously, Steph versus Io, Steph versus Rhea, that could be a way better match. But I feel like those are like WrestleMania matches. Like, we can wait to get those matches. You know what I mean? So I think Steph versus Naomi would be awesome. But I would expect Naomi to retain in this match because I just think it's too early for Steph. I don't think that they want to give her the world title quite yet. I think they want to have her in these big money matches before they put the world title on her. And like I said, I don't think Naomi's going to lose that early into her title reign. I think she's going to hold it. So, moving on after that match, I think we see Naomi versus Jade Cargill at Crown Jewel, like I said. World title versus world title. Raw versus SmackDown, that is. And then we see Naomi win this match, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not too hyped for this match if it happens, but if they're both the champions at the time and they continue to do this shit, I think Naomi and Jade Cargill will happen. Now, moving on after that, this is where Naomi's title reign is really going to pick up. This is where it'll get interesting. I think we see her versus Bayley at Survivor Series. Naomi versus Bayley at Survivor Series. Think about the history there. They're like best friends, right? But we haven't gotten an interaction between Bayley and Naomi since Naomi turned heel. Since, we obviously saw them in the Elimination Chamber match together, but, we didn't get, any, promos between them or anything. It was all about Naomi Bianca and Jade. Like, it had nothing to do with Bayley. So I think that has to happen at some point. Obviously, Bayley, she's involved in the mid-card scene with Lara and Becky, which has been awesome. But I think at some point she's going to go back to the world title feuds. And I think this is just the money match at Survivor Series because they're two former friends. Are they still friends? We don't know. I want to find out the answers to that question. And I think having a match at Survivor Series could be awesome. I think the feud they could have as former friends, like, it would be so good. And I would expect Naomi to continue holding that title. I think she beats Bayley in this match at Survivor Series. And then she goes on to fight none other than the EST, Bianca Belair, at WrestleMania. So yeah, I don't have Naomi defending the title at Rumble or Elimination Chamber. Could be wrong on that, but I don't think it happens. I think Bianca Belair is going to win the Royal Rumble, and I think we're going to get Bianca versus Naomi at WrestleMania for the title. I think that's the ultimate end game for Naomi's title reign. It's definitely Naomi versus Bianca. I don't see any other person taking the title from her, if I'm being honest with you. The only person that makes sense is Bianca because of the whole drama. Them used to be, best friends, tag team champions, right? And then you had the heel turn of Naomi, which left Bianca in a bad place. Obviously, Bianca, she's got a broken finger. She missed Evolution from an in-ring standpoint. Obviously, she was a special guest referee. It looks like she's going to miss SummerSlam, too. I doubt she gets thrown on the card last minute. So that would have been my match for SummerSlam, Naomi versus Jade for the title. But I'm kind of glad that it's not going to happen because, like I said, I would have said Bianca to win the title. But now with this scenario, we can have Naomi go on a really long title reign, and then we can get Naomi versus Bianca at WrestleMania. And just like Naomi versus Bayley, this feud could be awesome because of the history between these two. Like I was just explaining with the whole Naomi heel turn, leaving Bianca in a bad place, right? Like this stuff that they've already started diving into a little bit, but now you can like fully go into it because it's going to lead to a match at WrestleMania. I would absolutely love this, and I would expect Bianca Belair to beat Naomi in this match and win another world title in WWE. So, like I said, the current champion is Naomi. I think she actually holds the title all the way until WrestleMania and loses to Bianca. She's actually the only current champion of these 4 world champions that I think will still be champion come WrestleMania, but obviously lose to Bianca at WrestleMania 42. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash the thumbs up down below. Don't forget to comment down below what future videos you guys want to see from me. Alright guys, peace.